today's market is very dynamic. It is changing. Every moment is changing every day. The customer switches on very fast.
Exactly.
So do we have that kind of sensory perception of what is going on?
Supply chain disruptions brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic have exposed businesses to new vulnerabilities and their collective impact on the world economy. As a result, most companies either spent FY 2020 fighting fires in response to increased online orders or taking financial hit to deploy new services and business models to help retain and acquire new customers. Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, we have with us very special guest today, Sushil Verma sir. He's a supply chain professional with 35 years of extensive experience in business operations, supply chain management, commercial operations, deft in reviewing existing purchase, vendor management activities, institution necessary measures for curtailing unnecessary expenditures leading to cost optimization. He has worked with the market leaders in consumer goods, pharmaceutical industry, and lab chemicals, veterinary medicines, healthcare diagnostics, instrumentation, and educational publications, and high-end medical equipment companies. So, first of all, sir, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Harsh. I'm also looking forward to this session. Hopefully something good comes out from this.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It's our pleasure too. So moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is the future of supply chain tech, drivers, trends, and opportunities. The technological revolution has already accelerated to another level. Technologies like robotics, AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain, drones, and augmented reality are being harnessed to create a safer, efficient, and more productive environment. So my very first question to you is, or rather it's a kind of a request to you is, please explain to our viewers, in your opinion, how technology is actually reshaping the supply chain.
Okay, Harsh, since you said it's an honest discussion,
Yes.
So let me just take us back. Unfortunately, it was pandemic which has to highlight supply chain and logistics and the importance of that. Just 2 years ago, nobody would have heard of that name, supply chain, apart from the organizations which you're working in. Now it is a household name. Yes. Everyone talks of supply chain. Having said this, in my own 35 years of experience, I see very few examples where organizations have really deeply invested in improving supply chain. I mean, there are all kinds of meetings and talks and discussions happening within the organizations. But when it comes to investing in terms of employees' development and developing their capabilities and capacities and to be future ready, I don't see much happening there. So even if technology disruption comes, and there are so many various platforms which are available today where things are getting worked out. Data science is one, AI is another, machine learning, you talk of IoT, you talk of robotics, you talk of sensing equipments, and in the warehouse automation. All those interventions are there, but there is hardly any single window still today, a solution provider who can stitch these together. And still, despite of whatever we do, right, these are still fragmented silos, which needs to come together to again avoid that disruption. Having said this, the second most critical and important portion of this is, are the people within the organization are ready to actually grapple with these changes?
Exactly.
Have they been actually educated to come onto this platform, get themselves familiarized, and exploit them for organizational benefit? So while we are waiting all the things happening around, I don't think much trust within the organizations to bring on board, experts to teach the employees within the organization as far as the ways of going about supply chain is concerned.
Right.
So though we have knee-jerk reactions, it's still time that full automation, maybe in advanced countries probably, but within India context, we have a long way to go. This is how I see. So yes, there are various solutions available. One, we need to bring them together and stitch them together. They have to be cost effective because the organization normally shudder from investing into something which is cost prohibitive. The budgets don't allow. And thirdly, are we keeping something aside to train our own people to work with these systems? Only when these three things work together, digitization would bring in any benefit. Otherwise, it's a long walk.
Indeed, sir.
That's what yeah, sorry.
No, it's completely fine. I think you have actually very beautifully explained from starting from the pandemic and how this actually technology has came. So my next question to you is, data is one new most important element of the present era. Do you think with multiple sources pouring data in abundance, big data analytics will be essential technology improving the operations of supply chain by deriving a correlation between the data collected and applying relevant and new algorithm automatically on establishment of any correlation between the pieces of information?
So, Harsh, my answer is yes and no.
Okay.
From perspective of practicality, every organization has silos, and many of the organizations, barring some, MNCs and all, even collecting data is a challenge today. And when we are talking of data analytics and cloud computing, you've got to get, vast amount of data from first touch points and keep that updated on an ongoing basis to come out with something very significant, changing trends, changing scenarios, customer demands, and all that. It can be done provided we have opened our doors to collect all that information. I don't see that happening within many organizations. So whatever data that is being pulled in is coming out of the surveys, and those surveys are only on sample size and everything. Excuse me for saying that, but the real transformation is from the customer touch point, data flowing in, and in terms of the product uses, how customer handles, how do they shift to different product category or whatever, what are the problems that are customer facing. Those are few things which are determinant on how demand from the market is perceived. So for that, a lot is required. It is not that simple. Up till now, we have operated with whatever data is residing within the organization in terms of forecasting, in terms of demand planning, the historical thing and everything. Today's market is very dynamic. It is changing every moment. It is changing every day. The customer switches on very fast.
Exactly.
So do we have that kind of sensory perception of what is going on in the marketplace with the customer? Big data analytics is just what you get in. Only that will be given out. Right. Junk in, junk out. So we have to think through while implementing data analytics, AIs, machine learning, and then apply our own intelligence also on top of that to go in that direction.
That's the most important thing, yes.
Most important thing is that it should be supportive. It should not be automatically taking all the decisions.
All right, sir. My next question to you is, actually you have covered this part in your first answer, but let's be more specific. Before COVID, consumers were already becoming accustomed to the concept of free and fast delivery. Though their familiarity with services like Amazon Prime today, these expectations have accelerated to next day, same day, and even same hour options appearing across industries. Do you think evolving consumer expectations for free and fast delivery will hasten innovations in last mile logistics?
Definitely yes. So earlier the entire distribution system and channel was driven by basically the tax assumptions, and also driven by where my biggest market size is, where my manufacturing is. Now it's more customer oriented. So big data analysis and getting the customer sense and feel. And yes, the way e-commerce has changed the customer expectations,
Right.
there will be more of this. And it will not be just limited to what common, normal household buys. It will expand its reaches way beyond. So there, many new technologies will help, in terms of helping those distribution. And I feel as a fallout of that, the big warehouses and that supply chain concept probably give way to a mix of very, very local, small pockets of, storages,
Right.
which can reach out to the customer much faster than the big warehouse, which is way away from the delivery point. So yes, it will bring a lot of transformation in terms of entire supply chain down the line.
All right, sir. So my next question to you is actually it's a quite of a sensitive topic, and also this is a page 10 story. So I'm asking this question with the words major industries dedicating the next decade for the reduction of their environment footprints. How will the shipping industry contribute to watch out for the same? Do you think green technology can help the sector to carry out such operation in very cost-effective and environmental friendly way?
Of course, yes, there are many leverages to be gained from this move. While we are doing so much on digitization front, we have to be answerable to the environment, and that again is a very burning issue. The carbon footprints and the energy efficient way of doing business.
Exactly.
Plastic waste is something which is really strangling this planet. We have more and more of plastic generation. So those solutions have to give way, and the more economical way of, rather I would say environmental friendly way of doing business have to be thought through. That goes through the entire supply chain, and product design is something from where it starts, and the packaging and everything, and how it is carried. So in terms of mobility, you apply electric vehicles and whatever to reduce the carbon footprint. We are heavily dependent on fossil fuel. Yes, so the intervention is very much needed there, and it's a right opportunity for us to be able to do that. Nature has already shown us in the times of pandemic. When we step back, it again kind of started reviving and bouncing back. It is the right time to hold it there and probably build on this. Then again, let that pollution and everything. There are many costs associated with the way we go about doing commercial business, which we don't see forthright. Health and healthcare center. There are many. So those have to be taken into account. Another thing which probably is whether we can create an economy which is a reused base, and where product get recycled. Up till now, we have been throwing out into the market. But once it outlasts its user's value, what happens to that? There's a whole lot of waste sitting out there. So do we create at the time of inception something which can be remodeled, reused, and again put back? So recycling becomes increasingly important in certain industries more than the others. So there are various pointers which needs to be looked into.
Indeed, sir. Sir, my next question to you is robots are creating new waves in almost every other sector. We may also see the evaluation and development of sensors and remote control technologies and their effective implementations so as to reduce human interactions. So what do you think how this automation is going to actually affect the jobs in the industry, and also how it is going to change the job profile?
Okay. So there are two things. When we say robotics is not just creating hardware-based automation and support. Robotics is also how you move your processes seamlessly, right? And certain tasks which are very, very routine in nature can be put onto automation. And there again, the robotics comes and play a role. Having said this, I don't think maybe a low skill job probably get a hit, but there would be people who will be required to design and implement and make sure that these things run very smoothly without any interruption. So they will be more on supervisory side and insight, side, then probably less in performing heavy labor kind of stuff. So it will bring some disruption, which is in any case going to be there, but then not that it will have completely the robotics will take over people's job. No.
So my next question to you is, actually it's a kind of a request to you. Please tell our viewers, what does the future hold for jobs in this sector, in the supply chain sector? How do you see this?
Okay, so this is one area which is just opening up and has gathered attention. So far we saw sales and marketing, we saw finance, we saw all other streams, HR and all. Only of late, we started seeing organizations, institutes coming out with supply chain as the key area of study and a discipline to really focus on. And opportunity is boundless. There is nothing which is not touched by supply chain. So it's a field which is just opening up and the potential is very, very vast.
Okay.
So all these 15, 16 streams of technological information which are there, IoTs and all that, robotics and drone technology and all that, requires expert people, to work on these and stitch them together in a perfect manner. So it will require probably a hell lot of more people than we did ever earlier. And then cold chain is another one, which is upcoming. And as the temperatures are rising, the cold chain technology is also playing a major role. So I don't see dearth of opportunities in supply chain areas. Only thing is, if we can learn from the past experiences, so there are people out in the field who have had a lot of experience in terms of going through the pain points and also in terms of solving them. So we don't have to really go and reinvent the wheel. That's what mostly happens. So learn from those experiences and build upon that. I think that will speed up the process much faster.
Indeed, sir.
So that's what I need to say.
I can say, sir, there is a lot more to learn from you, but today I don't want to take too much of your time. So moving to my last question of this session, sir, what do you believe or what will be pieces of advice would you like to offer to all the students, those who are still in their B schools and they are learning these kind of, they are studying these kind of domains, studying these kind of disciplines. So what will you say to them? What kind of skills they must learn in their colleges?
So I would say that they are more fortunate than us. Maybe the people who started their career in 80s, 90s and all. We didn't have that disciplined learning and all that. So we learned on the go and solved issues and problems as and when they cropped up. So they have to, first, they are lucky, they're fortunate to really going into the stream, which will not go away. So it is one area which will not die down. That's one thing. Second thing is to always be up and about with the attitude of problem solving and on the go, because supply chain is something where anything can happen anytime. There is nothing in your control. Maybe 30%, 35% is within your this thing, with whatever processes and everything you plan. There is a whole lot of things which is happening, which is outside, in the road, on the air, on the rail, on the seas, which you don't really control. and you can't control. In fact, so how do we solve those? Is something. So they need to develop that curiosity, that mind, to solve these problems and issues. The more we are able to do that, the better future we have. With any organization, wherever you're going. So go with enthusiasm, go with curiosity, and go with a solution approach. And I think there is no stopping.
Exactly. So I think this was really a very wonderful and insightful advice from your side. And thank you so much, sir, for joining and giving your important time. We look forward to conduct more such sessions with you in future. Thank you so much, sir.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone.